Hey guys, I'm back with another video. A lot of you have been asking for me to go over some of these endgame dungeons, especially being a Fury Prod warrior. There's also been quite a few of you in my YouTube comments that have said Fury Prod doesn't work, there's better builds, it's not good for cleaving or multiple targets. I really just have two things to say. One, yes, it does work. And two, maybe because it doesn't work for you doesn't mean it doesn't work for somebody else. The beautiful thing about a warrior is that there are plenty of different things to do as far as builds and theory craft. Not everything works for everyone, and that is okay. I do Fury Prod tanking. It works just fine, and you'll see in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down. I am using Windows Media Player here, so I will be pausing in and out to talk about certain things. Before we even start the video, I want you to take a look at not only my gear, I want you to take a look at my comp. I want to talk a little bit about this. So looking at my character here, you can already tell that one, I have nothing but greens on. I have a Helmet of the Mountain that's a Maraudon quest, or I'm sorry, Maraudon dungeon reward. I am rocking two weapons that are below level 50. I have Tooth of Aranicus, which I think is actually level 51, and Axe of Ringi, which is level 48. I have nothing else but greens on. I did not have a single piece of dungeon loot yet, and I did this run last night. I dual wield tanked pretty much 95% of this. When I needed a shield, I put it on with the macro, and that's about it. Now, if you take a look at my group, also not in the greatest gear. Madtrix here, the mage, was in, he has the ZF cane and not pre-bis. Not pre-bis on the hunter, not pre-bis on the rogue, and the shaman healer that we found actually had okay gear. Now, I want to talk about the comp a little bit. Normally, for Scholomance, you want a priest because they bring shackle, a lot of undead in Scholomance. Obviously, stamina buff, especially for a freshly geared group like this. Shadow resistance, if I didn't say that already. So they bring a couple things to the table, and spirit as well. They bring a couple things to the table that are good, really good for Scholomance, especially as well as Strat Undead. However, we went with the shaman. Now our comp of me as a warrior, rogue, hunter, mage, shaman is actually one of the best comps you could ever have. But again, if you want a priest for Scholomance, I totally get that. Now, why I love this comp, especially in Scholomance, pretty much everything in Scholomance casts something. Outside of like the skeletal raiders, which are the first couple mobs here. There's a couple more later on in the dungeon. Pretty much everything, bosses, mobs, trash, whatever you want to call it, they all cast something. We have interrupts for days with this group. We have Urshock from the healer. We have Counterspell from the mage. We also have Polymorph. We have a bunch of different totems. We have Poison Cleansing, which is used in here, Disease Cleansing, Tremor, which is also used, and we have Grounding Totem for MCs. We have the Hunter, which technically this is like a 6-man group because we have the Hunter pet, and we also have Intimidation. He does actually dual spec here. He is Beastmaster and he is True Shot, or I'm sorry, he is Marksman. We have him switch for certain bosses, and you'll see why. And then we also have a Rogue, which also has, Kidney Shot, Cheap Shot, and Kick for interrupts. So overall, we have about 6 or 7 different interrupts, 2 or 3 different CCs. This is a really great comp for Scholomance. Again, this is a very undergeared group. We cleared it with ease. Real quick, some consumes you might want to consider bringing. Poison resistance totems. Obviously, your basic consumables, superior defense, mongoose, elixir of giants, food buffs. You also want to bring a shadow protection potion, maybe a couple, for the Barov boss at least. And then if I didn't say it already, you want to bring restorative potions, which clears curse, just in case you don't have a decurse, you don't have a mage or druid in your group for whatever reason. And then you also want to bring a FAP, a free action potion, for the Rattlegore stun. Dual wield tanking. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to just skip around as we go here. So we killed these first, obviously, killing the raiders. Now, here is pretty much the first pull where you actually have to pay attention. I marked a moon for sheep. These guys that are in shadow form, they do a mana burn. They also do a dark mending, which is their version of healing. But what we need to really look out for is these spectral guys. Just the first couple ones, what I have is marked as skull. They will do a pushback. And if any of, let's go step back a little bit. If any of your players are on this fence area and they get knocked back, they will fall down. And there is ghouls down there. You will die. Or you have the pet tree. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I do pull that group up. As you can see, we've cleared the group. I'm going to pull these two. Always use these stairs for LOS. So we're going to go ahead and pull that. We're going to walk into the next room. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this room once it starts buffering here. So when we open the gate here, just to kind of clear up the vision here and get rid of the death log, you're going to see spider pats and you're going to see skeletal raider pats. Now, this is actually super interesting and it might help you in the long run. The skeletons and the spiders do not chain react with each other. They don't tag with each other. You can pull them together and they won't pull together. So if let's say that spider there is right behind that skeletal raider padding and I pull it, they're both not going to come. Only the one that I pulled is going to come. So there is 3 skeletal raiders in here and there's 1 spider. I always make sure to clear out the pats before we do anything, before we even pull any of these side groups. The first couple mobs are always going to get pulled, the patrols. So I'm going to scoot up here. I'm going to pull that raider. I'm going to pull the rest of the trash. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. Now we have that pulled. I always start with this group here. You want to put a skull on the summoner. The summoner will literally just sit there and summon skeletons and summon skeletons and summon skeletons. This is why I love this comp. We have interrupts for days. This first group here, after the patrols are done, I always have the group stack in. You're going to see us here. I'm telling the group in comms, go, go, go. We get the interrupt here. Boom. We take it down. Now, what I really want you to pay attention to is this next group. Now, people get kind of like a little, I guess, I don't know if scared is the right word with this room, just because the mobs are very close together. I'm trying to see if I can, I hate Windows Media Player sometimes. Anyways, we take this group and then I use the Kirtonos room, which is the room right on the right, to LOS the next group. And then you'll see here that I pulled the next group right back into here as well. We use the interrupt to get the summoner back down here with us. Another interrupt. This group was on top with interrupts all night. Same thing. I'm going to pull that far group, use the stairs in the Kirtonos room, use the stairs in the Kirtonos room, and then we got the whole room cleared. Now, why that's important is obviously if you're doing the mirror song chain, you're going to have to be walking in and out of this spot. And you don't want to forget that you didn't pull these and then somebody walks into them and dies. I use this room for the next like 8 pulls. So I open the gate here. I'm going to pull this guy and then I'm going to keep pulling these. Now these spectral tutors, they're going to spawn into a billion different little ghosts. Any sort of AoE ability cancels that ability for them. So you can use a rank 1 arcane explosion. The Torn can use War Stomp. Thunderclap also works, even though I recommend never using Thunderclap right now, and especially in these 5-man dungeons. Any sort of AoE grenade, any sort of ability that does AoE or any AoE effect will cancel out that spawn for them. So I'm going to go ahead. This pull came from the right. So I'm just going to keep using this room and I'm just going to keep LOSing. Keep LOSing. You see, I pulled the next group, pulled right into here, LOSing. There's a couple pats in here that will walk right up to you. Obviously, just range pull them. Continuing to LOS. Every pull in here is just LOS. Now, this is one I wanted to show you. A lot of people don't realize that there's a groove right here. So when you can pull these mobs, when you get into the room here, let me see if I can back up just a little bit. See if I can pull this spider. Okay, now watch if I can get it here. Let me see. Nope, I can't find it. Well, anyways, okay. So when you go up to Jandice's room here, the door just opens when you walk by it. So I pull this group and I walk in with the healer into that room to get them LOS inside. So you watch this. So I just face pull here. Make sure I get the aggro. I have the aggro. I hide right in here. I tuck in and there they go. Now this is our next spot for LOS. Scholomance. There's like 4 or 5 kind of rooms or spots where like you're going to do the majority of your LOS pulling. So you see there, I pulled. Now I'm going to pull all the rest of the groups inside this room. As you can see, we keep killing groups in here. All the rest of the groups are just going to keep getting pulled and pulled and pulled in here. As you see, I can pull a group in here. They're coming right now. Perfect. Now let's talk about whelps. The whelp room is not really that scary as people make it. What usually happens is people just overpull. Why a shaman's good here is disease cleansing totem, because what the hatchlings actually spit out is a disease, and it just reduces your stamina. So you can just get a disease cleansing totem out. As you can see right here where this event list is on my stream, you can see these desks. You always want to have your back on a desk because the handlers, the NPC, the humanoids in here have a knockback. They also have a blast wave, and they actually have a cone of cold, believe it or not. It's just really random. But most importantly, they do a knockback. So you always want to have your back on one of these tables for the most part here. As you can see, my back is towards the table. The mage's back is toward the table. That way he can focus on AoE without getting knocked back. We're just going to clearly and carefully continue to pull this room. Now I want to go to Rattlegore. Let's see here. Okay. Let me grab this mob. Okay. So these mobs are very scary for melee for a couple reasons. Number one, they like to drop threat. It's very easy to pick up threat on these guys. You do not want these on a caster. If any of these mobs get on a caster, one shot is, I don't want to say inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to be, it might happen. I mean, there's a really good chance someone's going to die. Now, the next important thing here is, let's see if I can catch it on the camera here. Now, normally you don't want a rogue on these mobs. They cast sweeping strikes, just like the warrior ability. However, the ability can hit from behind. So I made sure I told the rogue that these mobs can hit you from behind with sweeping strikes, and it is a lot of damage. If that rogue gets hit, there is about 70% of his health gone. And if he pulls threat with that sweeping strike, he's dead. Now, what I told the rogue to do is actually super important. So if you play a rogue by chance, or if you have a rogue friend, what you can do is always have them open up with cheap shot. So we have the 2-second cheap shot here. The mob is already at about 60% health. Now, then after that, he runs away. This is what you're looking for, this yellow crown. That means that sweeping strikes has officially been casted by that mob. So anytime you see a yellow kind of aura around the mob, or you see this yellow crown, that means that sweeping strikes for that mob is now active. So as you can see, the rogue has ran out. And you're going to see on a couple other mobs, I tell him to cheap shot. And then if you have extra combo points, stun it again with a kidney. Stun, 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 stun. And if for some reason you are full protection, which you probably shouldn't be, but if you are, concussive blow is also a good spot here, or the improved revenge stun. So now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to carefully clear this room. And I want to get to Rattlegore. Okay, Rattlegore right here. There is a chance to pull these two mobs. What you need to look for is this mob on the left needs to be back more because it does pat, and its back needs to be facing Rattlegore in order to pull Rattlegore. Otherwise, you're going to pull the extra mob. Healer's going to panic. Group members are going to panic. You're going to die. So you want to make sure that not only is it patting away and diagonal away from Rattlegore, you also want to make sure its back is facing. That means it's as far as it possibly can go. This other mob will not pull. So go ahead here. Let's see if I can get this quickly. As you can see, I did put on my shield for this mob because this guy hits crazy, crazy, crazy hard. Now, there is a myth that people like to say for some reason that you can slow Rattlegore. No, you cannot. You cannot use Earthbind Totem. You cannot use Frostbolt slow. Concussive shot does not work. You cannot slow Rattlegore. So the easiest way to kill Rattlegore, who consistently just drops threat, drops threat, drops threat. If your DPS is not good, he will drop threat at least 5 times during this fight. And as you can see, if he drops threat 5 times, you might not have taunt. Your mocking blow is probably going to be gone already. And you're probably not going to have challenging shout anymore. So you got to figure out some alternative opportunities. This is why we have a hunter. I made the hunter go Beastmaster. I'm going to have the hunter start on Rattlegore. We are going to bring Rattlegore up to the Welp room, right up the stairs to the Welp room. That way we have way more room to operate. If for some reason I get stunned and he drops threat and we have no other options, people can just run around the room with a speed potion or something in order for me to charge, intercept, get back threat on Rattlegore. So we start with the pet on Rattlegore. The pet is going to main tank Rattlegore just so I can get Sunders up without taking damage, and then I can be ready for that first threat drop. So we pull Rattlegore here. As you can see, exactly like I'm saying, the pet starts on Rattlegore. Shaman has Stone Skin Totem up. Stone Skin Totem up. Perfect. We're good. Boss dies. No issues at all. I ended up using Challenge Shout. You're going to have to use Mocking Blow as well, and you're going to have to use Taunt. Please communicate with your members, please. Now, this room, it can be a little tricky. You always want the pats to be, you always want to pull spiders first before obviously you do anything else in this room. Easiest way to do it is just have the spiders always be in the middle of this front room. They'll literally try and basically walk up to you, pull them. Now, you want to hug right here, and you want to basically face pull this group without pulling the back one. You have to hug right. You have to be against the wall. You cannot afford to pull both of these groups. The reanimated corpses, they walk super slow. As a warrior, as soon as they die, hit them. Free rage. They're just like the Molten Core dogs in Molten Core. They're dead, but you can still hit them for rage. These will come back to life, but they're dead for about 10 seconds. You can get free flurry procs, free rage, any sort of things you want, wind fury procs, whatever. The ghouls that are diseased, they have a gas, don't stand in it. And the risen aberrations, you can only kill with melee damage. So I always have my rogues, my hunters always work on those while I'm working on the diseased ghoul. So as you can see, I pulled the ghoul to the side here, so that way no one's just stepping in the gas for no reason. We're going to go ahead and we pull everything in that room. That's literally about it. Now, I guess we can go back here real quick. These students, this is just like the bar room. If you do any shout, any sort of AoE ability in here, any sort of damage, these goes hostile, you're going to die. Now, Raz's room, obviously just continuously pull the mobs out. Now, Raz actually has an interesting frost armor ability, which can decrease your attack speed by literally 100. So you're attacking like once every 5 seconds. What the shaman can do, another reason why shaman's good here, he can purge the armor off of Raz. So I pull Raz here. You always want to put Raz, you want to put your back on the wall here. So pull him, if he's here, pull him and then just wrap him around this wall, because he does do a knockback, and also frost resistance totem is good here. So as you can see, I knock back. He does a fear as well. We have interrupts for days. Easy kill. He actually dropped a really good shield for me. Now, you have all these little side rooms. I'm going to try and my best here to talk about all of these little side rooms. As you can see here, we're prepping. Shaman has an Earthbind totem. Hunter has a frost trap. Mage has improved blizzard, so it has that increased slow on blizzard. Any mob that's labeled, as you can see here, as unstable quartz, when it gets to 0%, it's going to blow up. If you get hit by 2 or 3 of these and you are not a warrior at the same time, you are 150% dead. There is no coming back. You're dead. So what we did is we have Earthbind totem, we have Hunter trap. We let the mage do his thing, and we're just there, you know, for backup purposes, really. Like, we have grenades, we have anything else that would be used as AoE ability. Let me see if I can kind of scoot up here. Okay, so as you can see, the mobs got pulled out. The mage is just blizzarding. We're kind of sitting here. He dropped Mana Tide for the mage. The mage is literally carrying this room. As you can see, the next pull isn't as big. Boss actually came with the pull. It can happen. He doesn't hit very hard. So obviously, as you can see, they're AoEing. I pulled the boss further down, so that way it's not an issue for anybody. We kill the boss. Now, this room just drops a bunch of threat. They're not very deadly. They'll just drop threat whenever they want. Other than that, easy. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can get to the Bone Warders. The Bone Warders don't do anything crazy either. They have like a bone armor that does reduce physical damage. The boss inside here, Grounding Totem, she does MC. It is interruptible. Easy kill. Now, this room, these raiders Risen Warriors, I'm sorry, hit insanely hard. I'll throw on a shield here. We'll get these killed. Now, the next part. If you want to do this room flawlessly, you need to take a Shadow Protection Potion. It's just like the Baron Rivendare room where you're killing Baron and he has that tick damage, just shadow damage, shadow damage, shadow damage. It adds up quickly, especially when it's on all the players. We actually brought Shadow Protection Potions. Everybody popped one. Now what we do is you want to pull him out like this. Mage is going to pull him out. Let me see if I can get it to go here without like missing any of it. Okay, so what we did is we had the mage pull Barov and kite him outside around the top layer. Once we kill those 2 mobs, he brings the boss back. The boss is going to hit you with a curse, a veil, curse of healing, curse, whatever, reduces healing effects on you by 50%. you need to get that decursed immediately. So if you have a druid or a mage, otherwise you need to bring a restorative potion. If you don't have a geared healer and that curse is on you, you are going to die, especially as a freshly geared tank like me. You are going to die. So we just killed the boss. Pretty simple. Now, next one. These are tricky. They can only die to physical damage, so they just take a while to kill. They do a lot of shadow bow volleys, though. You need to be careful. That's about it for that room. Next one is, let's see, the farts. Don't stand in them. I like to pull a couple out, just bring them around, and you get the kills. Now, the butcher guy, you actually can't aggro him unless you hit him. So you can literally walk behind him and get set up if you want. He drops threat all the time. So I told the rogue, as soon as he drops threat for the very first time, he's going to turn around and hit you. You need to pop evasion immediately, right off the first turnaround. Evasion immediately. And so I get the taunt off, or I have to use a different alternative thing. Now, boss is up. I believe. I think that was our last one. We like to clear the top rooms last, so that way people don't mess up and turn around and walk right into the boss. Because as soon as this last side room you do clears, the last boss will come. He does a lot of magic damage. It's basically just all arcane bolts. You can get away with dual wielding here because it's magic damage. And again, we had the hunter. As you can see, he's drinking because we had him go beast mastery. Just in case I'm the one that gets teleported out of the room, the hunter's pet can take it. So pretty easy kill. I do want to go over Jandice's room. We went back and forth because we were doing the mirror song chain. Now, okay, this room is the most important room for a tank. You have to understand what's going on in here. There's 6 different pets. There's usually 2 very slow reanimated zombies, and there's usually 4 skeletons, the risen aberrations that run around. You need to clear all of these before you do anything else. So as you can see here, let me try and back up a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So look, I'm sitting here at the front of the room. They're going to run around. I'm just going to face pull them or range pull them so I just face pull him, I bring him back. There's the other pat right there walking. You can see him walking in between the corridors. There's another zombie. I pull it. I literally sit there and I count out the pats as I go. There's 5 to 6 of them. There's going to be one on the back half too, so you need to pay attention. If you do not get these pats and they aggroes you from behind and then they link, extra mobs, you're in trouble. Trust me, especially if you have multiple gas ghouls in there. And the corridors are very small, like you have nowhere to go. You're just going to stand in gas and you're going to die. So this room is you always want to keep people in this back corner once you have those pats cleared. I literally go down the corridor here and I just pull back into this corner. You'll see that I grab the ghouls. Let me see if I can find one without having to skip around too crazy. I will pull the ghoul, the diseased one, behind them and have them clear it so that way they never have to worry about standing in the gas. Literally hugging right, walking down the corridor and getting to Jandice. Jandice is going to spawn a bunch of mobs, keep her marked. If your DPS doesn't kill her fast enough, if they just don't mow her down fast enough, the ads are actually going to start hitting the healer. For the first 15 seconds, they're kind of dormant. They don't do anything. They're just going to stand there and fake hit. After 15 seconds, I found they actually start doing damage to the healer. So you need to really get Jandice down. Keep her with the mark so that way you know who the real Jandice is. Will the real Jandice please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. Anyways, as you can see all the copies here. See how they're actually starting to hit the healer now. Go ahead and kill her. Done. Now let's do Kirtonos. Kirtonos is this room where we were doing the LOS pulling. You want your back on, he has an insane knockback. He drops threat all the time. He hits very hard. If your back is over on the patio side here, he will literally launch you out of the dungeon and you're going to die, or into the water, and you might let your team die. So as you can see, everybody has their back towards these candles. Again, Beast Mastery Hunter, we had him go Beast Mastery. We're going to have the pet start on Kirtonos so I can get Sunders up, and then I will use that as a way to keep my taunts fresh, and that way we can taunt off. So I taunted off the owl. The owl almost died there. I took it. Easy tank and spank with the Hunter pet. And that is it. We got Boots of Valor. That is Scholomance. I hope this video helped. I'm going to keep doing these videos to show you that yes, besides people in my YouTube comments saying it doesn't work, telling you wrong information, yes, Fury Prod does work in dungeons. Absolutely. I'm not sure where people are getting that it doesn't. It does. I've proven it time and time again. If you want to go watch my streams, you can find my stream. I hope this video helped, and I will see you guys another time.